That was so weird. Good morning, everybody. This is everything's happy Friday. That's I don't know what to say. There we go. It's been a weird week. But we here, and that's all that matters. So, good morning, everybody. How you doing? Happy Friday. Hope you guys have had a good week. It's been an interesting week. Last week I was not here, and so shout out to Mr. Gene Campbell for locking it down and doing the show last week. Last week I took some of my own advice that I give you guys each week: unplug and get out in nature, and that's exactly what I did. Thursday night I drove down to Southern Virginia. Bath County to be exact. So it's like in the mountains, about probably an hour off the main road. And when you get out there, there's nothing out there. Like there's no internet service, there's no cell phone service. And it was like that for like 4 days. And it was great. I was grocery shopping, which I'm going to be doing here after to the show today. I'll be leaving and making the drive to a 4.5 hour drive to grocery shop this weekend. So nonetheless, let's go ahead and get started. I got a guest lined up for you guys this week. This gentleman I've known, and I usually don't say that publicly, but since we're live today, known this guy for probably about 10 years, I reckon. Met him down in Arizona. He is a United States Marine Corps veteran. We've worked together on various projects. What's up, Doc? I see you over there. How you doing, brother? I love the new song that you sent me too. That's good. Let everybody know when you're gonna start posting those. Met this guy back about 8 years ago. We just hit it off. He's a dear friend now. His wife is amazing. I've met his kids. Just family, right? He is the host of the Faith Valor Growth Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, my friend, Mr. Dominic Licata. Dom, what's up, brother?
Not much, brother. Thank you for having me. I think secretly I've always wanted to be on this podcast, and maybe a little butthurt sometimes that I haven't been on it for 8 years, but here I am today. Oh, he's my dear friend. I'll take 10 years to get him on my podcast.
And we just lost connection. So, no, I'm just kidding. Oh, man. That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, in my defense, Dom's never asked. He's throwing. This is what he throws me under the bus right out the gate, and that's you can't.
I don't know how to ask. I just like I'm sure it's because like you tell me, hey, we're going to talk about conspiracy theories, so I like give you like 15 pages. I bring 1 page to my podcast, right?
Yeah,
we're just getting started. No,
you guys are in for a real shit show today. And I've already dropped a swear word, and we're not even 5 minutes into the show. I apologize for you young listeners out there. Anyway. Dom, let's get to know you. You've been part of the HMG family for a while. You've had a show on several years ago.
Yep, that was a 360 Financial podcast. Yep. We were really just focused on VA home loans and how to overcome some of the nuances of VA financing, some of the myths that hold people back from using their VA home loan benefit. Very basic. And it was supposed to grow into financial freedom, right? And from that time, when I think we started, that was back in 2017. So that was 8 years ago. But we had met about a year before that, before everything kind of took off, and did some test runs and dabbled around with some things. And you try to figure out a good place for me in the network. I went back home. So I left Arizona. I went back home to Michigan. Well, I wouldn't call Michigan home. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. So I am an Ohio State Buckeye, which I do rep it all the time. Living up here in Michigan, I get a lot of grief for it. We have lost the last 4 years in a row against this team up north. But aside from that, I was able to create a lot of wealth using my VA home loan benefit. I'd already used it a couple times to purchase a home here or there,
Yeah.
but I found some opportunities inside of it, and was able to see some things that I could have done differently, ways that we could utilize this as a tool in order to get people into property management, real estate development, and wanted to just kind of exploit that and teach people how to do it, and some of the little paths that you have to know, some of the little nuances and that maybe a lot of people don't understand, and walk them through to give them the knowledge
Yeah.
so they could become successful with it. And the bigger picture was, so many things happened in my life, and I know you were there for quite a few of them. But I went through some dark periods.
Yeah. And we're let's get into that here in
Yeah.
just a moment. Let me see here. Brent over on IG. Good morning to you. I think Brent's up in Canada, eh? Appreciate you jumping on. Dom, you're a Marine Corps veteran,
Mhm.
right? And we don't hold that against you. What'd you do in the Corps? What years were you in?
So I was in from 96 to 2000.
Okay.
I served with Fast Company, the Fleet Anti-Terrorist Security Team, second platoon.
Nice.
Ran around, did a lot of missions over in the Middle East. Did forward deployed platoon out of Bahrain from 96 to 97. Went back again in 98. When we were there in 98, they bombed the embassy in Nairobi, Kenya. Ended up in Nairobi, Kenya for about 4 months after they.
So you saw a little bit of the world then.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, a little bit. Not combat action, but enough, right?
Yeah.
Enough to kind of know what was going on out there. Enough of the bullshit. Enough of the lies. I'm sorry, dropped the shit.
all
I
right.
figured you opened it up for me, so I'm gonna ride that shit storm. But I think that's it. Really, it opened my eyes to, hey, maybe not as everything as it seems.
Right.
And when I got out, I went to Kent State for a year, tried to walk on the football team, ended up on the practice squad, hurt my shoulder, but ended up in the National Guard at that time too, because it was cheaper to pay for college.
Right.
When 9/11 happened, I tried to get back to the Marine Corps, and I think I had a lot of like survivor's guilt from that, right? I missed getting onto the 15th MU, going over to Afghanistan. I had a lot of friends that were over there. I was hearing about all the stories, and here I was, providing guard in a shack up in Michigan, and hated my life and didn't want to tell anybody that I was in the military. I made stories up. I bullshitted. And
Then what got you into, so from the military, what got you into
mortgages?
doing mortgages and stuff?
I responded to an ad in the paper that said, "Do you want to make $100,000 this year?" And I was like,
Is that
$100,000?
really how it started?
I
Is that
swear.
really so you had like really no desire? You
I
just
didn't even know
saw.
how to sell mortgage. I didn't even know what a mortgage was. I had no
How long
clue.
did it take you to learn the business? I was in the I did a very short stint, like maybe 8 months in the mortgage business, and it was
Yeah.
just like, that's
So
not easy as a single parent.
so I yeah, right. As a single parent, it wasn't easy as a single man.
That's not
I
an
was out
easy. It's
there.
not an easy thing.
I,
Period. You got to pay your dues, and it takes time, but
yeah,
it could be very.
I
If
got
you
out.
stick
So
with it.
so I got out in 2003, right? It was January of 2003, and I responded to that ad in the paper, and it just it was a mixture of numbers and guidelines. And growing up with attorneys in my family,
Mm,
I understood the how law worked and how rules were written, and how there's always a gray area within those rules, and it was your obligation in order to find the truth within them, right? But
right.
the numbers really what draws me. I'm a numbers guy, right? I could sit there and do math in my head all day and actually enjoy it, right? I
Mm.
used to make bets with my
Like Rain Man.
right. Just I've had a lot of friends tell me that I did Rain Man, and I
Yeah.
thought I was until I met my son Brody, and Brody smokes me. I mean, it's not even close, but it's just I feel like it's something that's genetically handed down. We're numbers people. We like to talk through numbers.
Mhm.
Stats are great. That's why we like the game of baseball. We follow along baseball because it's a stat nerds fantasy. And uh, after about 6 months, I realized, hey, I'm really good at this. I like this. I want to learn the intricate details on the inside. So I applied to a couple of different places and found my way at Washington Mutual. At Washington Mutual, I teamed up with the gentleman who had already had a few years of mortgage experience, and he was just looking for the right guy on the inside. His name is Will Chase. He's still somebody who's near and dear to my heart. I hang out with him all the time. And I learned it from the inside. I learned how to get what it took to get a deal done. I saw different scenarios that worked. We had a PP&G, which is a product pricing guide. I think it was like 187 pages. I think I memorized it in the first 5 days. So I've been gifted with the ability to memorize things and have that photographic, I wouldn't say photographic memory, but if it's something that I like, I can retain the information. I have very good retrieval on it. So I enjoyed it. I found a little bit of a family atmosphere when I started going to some of the other companies. The sales teams kind of carried
How long have you been doing mortgages now?
22 years, so since 2003. And I've tried to get out of it several times, right? When it crashed in 2008, I tried to get out.
Me back in.
Yeah.
Was it something like, have you not was there nothing else that you wanted to do, or was this just like, this was kind of your knack? You've been doing it for so long.
Yeah, I've been doing it for so long. Even in 2008 and 2009, when I was living in Flint, Michigan, which is the worst market probably in the entire United States, I was still making six figures at that time. So, what do you do? What am I going to do? What am I going to quit a job and go get a job making $48,000 somewhere? Grinding, not having flexibility in my time. And I had worked for, over that course of the 22 years, I worked for places like United Wholesale Mortgage, which is the largest wholesale lender. Actually, they're the largest lender in the country right now. That's where I met Chanel, proposed to her at the Thursday 3:00 dance party. So there was that family type of, that community type of environment there. And when I left and went out to Arizona, I thought I was going to create that at Endeavor America. And then that just kind of fell apart based on market conditions, based on everything. Nobody did anything wrong. It was just circumstantial, right?
So if people want to know,
Mm-hmm.
what's the market doing, or what's the market going to do here in the next 6 months?
Bro, I mean, I've been saying in 2021, I knew that we were going to have a shift. So 2022 rolled around and rates shot up. Like, when I think it was January, they went from 3% to 6% in a matter of about 45 days. And
Right.
I knew that was going to have to happen with inflation. I felt like we missed the third leg of a bear market, where we should have had one more downturn based on the supply chain, this, that, and the other. And this has just been dragged out. For the last 12 months, I'm saying rates have to come down. They have to come down. There's a lot of equity in properties out there where people need to tap into. It's the only way to get cash moving back through the system. We do talk about it's a currency, not a monetary system. And when a current stops, the economy stops.
Yeah.
So all of those things come into play. I see where Trump is trying to push rates down. I'm not a big fan of Jerome Powell. I understand what he's done, but Trump said it, too late to the table, Jerome Powell. He's always too late to raise the rates, too late to lower the rates. This last rate cut, we should have had a half a point. We saw a lot of investors bake in to where they believed that they were going to cut them a half a point. So pricing was already good at the beginning of September, right before the announcement. And when he said it was only going to be a quarter point cut, I'd say your top 5 or 6 lenders already knew that he was only going to do a quarter point because they knew who Jerome Powell is. But you saw some of these other investors start to scramble and pull back on their pricing. So where rates were just under 6% for a par rate, depending on, it's always like, how much equity do you have in your house? How large is the loan amount? What's your FICO score, right? There's always a lot of caveats that go into what interest rate that you can get. We saw them uptick maybe an eighth or a quarter of a point over the past couple of weeks. Now, I do anticipate that they're going to continue to cut the rates. They're probably going to start pushing them down, but there is no direct correlation with the federal fund rate and the Fed's cutting the rates to the mortgage rates. It's tied a little bit more to the 10-year Treasury, and you can see that the 10-year Treasury, as they're cutting rates, is starting to jump up and down. You see some movement in that market. I think inevitably over the next 6 months, we should see interest rates probably right around that 4.95%. But I've been saying that for 18 months now. At this point,
Is this a buyer? Is this a seller's market or buyer's market right now?
Seller's market only in the sense of a lot of people this year decided to put their house on the market for astronomical prices, right? I mean, we've had a couple rental properties. We're like, well, if we can sell it for $400,000, even though we thought it was worth $350,000, then we'll take $400,000 for it. This way we can reinvest the equity.
I've seen something in the last probably, we've been looking at houses for 2 years, and I've noticed that a lot of them are ones that end up getting sold are ones that are asking $30,000, $40,000 over asking price.
Mm-hmm.
on a house that was already overpriced.
And it's gotten back to that.
Yeah.
You see, like it's there's like little niches in the market, right? If it's a desirable house and somebody wants to move into it, yeah, you're going to get top dollar for it, right? It's crazy. We live in a subdivision, Bridge Valley here in Clarkston, Michigan, and if a house goes on the market, it's gone. We
Yeah.
could sell our house tomorrow for way more than it's worth, without question. The one that's just on the other side of the road, beautiful subdivision, but everybody that's living over there, they're looking for houses over in our subdivision. So there are little niches out there that
It
you
just
have to
depends on
understand
where people
where.
want to be and what's important
Exactly.
to them. Yeah. No, I
Exactly.
get it.
You know, anybody can list a house and try to get as much money as they can for it. It's what are they willing to, the houses is worth what people are willing to pay for them.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So it
Well,
doesn't
and
matter if
that's
the appraiser
that's why
goes,
we switched up, started looking at land, as you know. I mean,
well,
you're pretty close to our situation with
close.
with
I
with
feel like
Sam
it's
over
like
here.
embedded in the fabric of my life over the last 2
Yeah.
years.
You're welcome.
No, you know what though? Like I that was such a great experience for Chanel, right? That was the first experience. So she worked for Priority Financial Network, and she has
Yeah.
her Lux Lending DBA, and she's been able to carry that Lux Lending brand around with her
Yeah.
for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And she was hesitant to move over to the broker channel to have multiple options to find different investors and different lenders. And I kept saying, babe, I'm telling you, this is where you
Way
have
to
to
go.
position yourself. You don't want to be a one trick pony at this point. You're going to need to open up the floodgates and bring in some deals that are a little more difficult, might have a little hair on them. And she's gotten so good at being able to put deals together. The last couple of months, I know when we went into season 2 for Faith Valor Growth, I had to take a step back and say, hey, I need to help my wife focus on her business. And that was
Yep.
what, 2 or 3 months ago.
About
Well,
3 months ago already.
yeah, about 3 months ago. Yeah, it was July. So
Yeah.
she's sitting on 18 deals in her pipeline right now.
Let's talk about Faith Valor Growth.
18. I gotta say it again. 18 deals in her pipeline right now. I mean,
Jeez.
that I just I hear all these.
See, I'll tell you this, and let me say something about Chanel real quick. It is, and I've known you guys a long time. Hell, I was there the day after Adonis was born.
I know I have pictures of you holding his
Yeah,
little
I remember that.
ass in your hand, your big ass hand. It's like
That's so funny. It was, but she does answer the phone
without fail.
yeah. Or if I text, she's like, "I'll call you right back," because I'm a bull. I am not an easy client to deal with because I know I'm a pain in the ass, but I'm also very like, this is what I want. This. I'm the customer. I don't care. Blah blah blah. Like, I said that to the builder. Like he said, "Hey man, we're busy with X, Y, and Z." I don't care.
Right.
I don't.
Right.
I get it and I respect everybody's thing, but I can be. I know I can be a little bit of a task to work with. Faith Valor Growth. We got to move forward with this Faith Valor Growth podcast. Why did you start Faith? I mean, for the viewers that watch this,
it was my way to give back to the veteran community, right? I had seen a way to make money, to create wealth in the
right.
real estate market. And hey, this is a caveat to it, but over the past couple of years, I've become really strong in my faith, right? I didn't really have it when I was in the service. I grew up very Catholic, went to church. My mom actually married the pastor of a Lutheran, Missouri Synod Lutheran church. So I was surrounded by scripture. I was surrounded by prayer. Whether it left a sour taste in my mouth based on some of the things that happened when I was a child, I went to the military. I didn't feel much need for it, right? I thought I was invincible. I, wrecked a motorcycle. Got up from it and did a backflip, and everybody thought I was crazy, right? I still am. And over the past couple years, I started feeling massive anxiety with everything. I felt like I was failing at things. I believed in myself more than anything else. I trying to control the narrative. And, once I surrendered everything to God and just said, hey, it's yours, direct me, I'm your vessel, things magically started happening for me. Like wealth started coming in, babies started coming into my life. It was very impressive. And I didn't even know what it meant. I had no clue what was going on. And I felt that at some point in time, there was a demonic force that we were consistently fighting against, and that the only way through it was through Christ. So the faith, valor, growth piece of it was that through faith and through strength of doing what's right in the face of adversity, you can grow. You can have all the things you want. You can manifest the things in your life, but you have to have those foundational elements first. So my job was to bring people back to God, our creator, so that he could save them.
Right.
And once they're saved and you have that belief and you're able to get rid of that fear and anxiety, and you're able to focus on love and abundance and all of these things that we talk about. I mean, we use these words so freely, but really we're controlled and manipulated by fear, anxiety, all the things that are going on in the news, right? That those chains, they shackle you down. And I can't tell you, like, I watch those things just to understand what's going on in the world, but I do not let them drive anything that I do. I don't worry about how the bills are going to get paid on a month-to-month basis. And look what's happened. We've got 18 deals in the pipeline now, right? And it was,
and you and I have talked about this offline and stuff like that with the Maker's Machine or our Inner Circle group. Shout out to the Maker Machine group out there. Those of you that watch this later on, and those of you that watch this, we got a couple people live right now on different platforms. Share this, and leave a comment. Let us know where you're at. We've talked about our personal faith and how to, and I've always said, whether you believe in that, I don't want to say I'm a Bible thumper. I hate using that term, but it's, I don't push it on people. I like, it works for me,
right.
And it's one of those things, and that's how I know you, I would say pretty well, and you and I have been through a lot over the last decade, together. I've seen your journey and
You've held me when I've cried. I mean, honestly,
I've seen you at your, I've seen you
when I've cried. So
I've seen you at your highs, but I've seen you at some of your lows as well. So watching you over the last 10 plus years or so, kind of transform and finding your faith and just seeing how passionate you are about it. But one of the things we always say is, like, you focus on that purpose, and if you have to have faith. And it's like, when I said it yesterday in our inner circle, like it was crazy because I shared an example. I'm not going to do it here today, but I shared an example of like trying to take control of something that I really didn't have control over. And I was kind of ignorant to think that I did. And is once you kind of let that go, like you feel a weight lifted off your shoulders, things become a little bit easier, and it's more manageable, to a sense of, like, you end up not stressing about stuff that you probably normally would.
Right. You have to give it to God.
Yeah.
You have to package it up. You've got to talk it out. You got to have that conversation with him. So my relationship with our creator is a lot different than it was even 2 years ago. Right. I mean, I talk for 30, 40 minutes just in the car. I don't listen to the radio anymore.
Yeah.
Right? I listen to anything. I listen to podcasts. I'm a YouTube junkie at this point. I try to find some truth in that. And here we are today, really focused on how do we give it to God? How do we really give it to him and walk away and know that he has our best interest in mind, because he genuinely loves us, right? Like, I always have to remember, like, how much do I love my kids and what would I do for them? And I have to put them through some learning experiences, right? I have to make them go through some shit that they don't want to go through. That's what a good father does. But I love them so much. Well, if I'm like that to my children, we're talking about the big guy here. This guy, he loves us more than you could ever imagine. Like, you can't even, like, the amount of, when you hear about these people that go to an afterlife and they see him or they feel him, they always say that their eyes well up in tears, because the amount of love that they feel is unfathomable. Right. So I know he's got my best interest at heart. Right. I don't think that's going to get me here to dump me on my butt.
Do you talk about that during the show then? So explain, and we're going to get into the shows here in just a couple of minutes, but, like,
sometimes it depends on the episode. Some of these episodes are I try to have veterans on there as much as possible. It's not always the most feasible. There's a lot of people in the community that I'd like to bring in that love to support the veteran community, whether it's like the disability law group, yeah, we do focus on those things, but I feel like I'm always really, because I don't like to talk about myself in the podcast. It makes it difficult, right? I'm there to try to find opportunities to give knowledge and direction and purpose to people that are looking for it, right? And the whole there's no direction, purpose, and community after we get out of the military is that transition piece has kind of been a big catalyst for what the focus is that I walk into every day. Veteran homelessness kills me, right? I traveled around the country for Rocket Mortgage for the 2 years. And every time I went to a giant MSA, didn't matter where it was, I'd see homeless veterans everywhere. And I was like, this is unacceptable. Someone has to do something about it. Well, now I feel like I'm going to do something about this, right? I quit my job at Rocket just over a year ago. It was October, I launched Faith Valor Growth October 4th. So we're just over a year.
Ew, wow.
Yeah, right. I know we talked about it last, what was it, in June when I was in Washington, D.C. That was really when it clicked for me, where I was walking over in Alexandria, Virginia, and the amount of homeless veterans I saw just really bothered me. It just hit me to the core.
Yeah.
And not like the Marine Corps, to the core of my soul.
Right.
And
No.
I couldn't do it anymore. I needed to do something about it. I feel like I'm getting started. I haven't made the impact that I want to make, but I do know that God's going to help me make that impact because I just trust it.
I love it. Folks, you can check out Dom's show, Faith Valor Growth, right on the Heroes Media Group website. Go to heroesmediagroup.com. You can also find him on Spotify, Apple, or your favorite podcast listener.
Yeah. It's everything's Faith Valor Growth, right? I handle it at YouTube, Faith Valor Growth, but faithvalorgrowth.com is the platform that we push everybody to, but it's really easy to find me.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Anytime you want to have a conversation about some things, whether you're looking for some insight, I'm always available. I just love talking about this. I love talking about mortgages and finance and finding opportunities to make money in real estate. I thoroughly enjoy it.
Alibi, real quick. So veterans, I know you guys, you do a lot of VA stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What is a misconception of using the VA loan?
Yeah. So there's a lot of times where people believe that the VA loan, because you're not putting any money down, that you're a weaker client. And just having those conversations with the agents, right? Whether it's your buyer's agent or whether it's the listing agent, of the strength of the people that are coming out of the veteran community, how much more money they make, the average FICO, the default rate on the VA home loan. Those are just the very basics in order to get your offer accepted. The second piece of it, and I always like to kind of piggyback this, is, the appraisals are a little more stringent on the VA home loan. It used to be, but there are things that are out there, whether it's Tidewater or the notification of values, or the way that you can refute any of the values coming in, right? There's an escalation process for it. Those things are in place where they're not in place in any of the other worlds, like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, whatever that appraiser deems the value is, the appraiser deems the value is. So if you're purchasing a property, you're buying the house for $500,000, and he's like, man, I'm just not seeing $500,000. He invokes what's called Tidewater. Well, you have 72 hours to try to ensure that those comps are there, and your listing agent, the person who's selling the property, should have already done that work, so they're able to supply those things of why they think the value of $500,000 is there.
Yeah.
If that doesn't come in, now you've got to negotiate your contract, whether it's one way or another. But that's beside the point. The bigger point is that there are things in place that make it so that appraisal isn't harder to get done. It doesn't take longer. The loans don't take longer. They don't have to go back through the VA. They're all done through AUS, which is the automated underwriting system. So we can get instant approvals as we take your information, run it through the platform, find out exactly how you qualify and what those requirements are for you in order to be able to get it closed.
And there's certain things like tests and stuff that you have to, like, there's a lot of things that you can, inspections that you can waive.
Yeah.
There's 2 inspections, termite and water, I believe, are
mandatory. Those are mandatory.
Yeah. And the water one, you definitely
want that.
Found out one that we won the bid, or we had the highest bid, didn't give it. They gave it to the lowest bid because they waived everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then found out like a couple weeks later there was like a high arsenic.
We had arsenic in our water, so we would never have known that. And when we purchased it from our people, like, well, we've been drinking the water for however many years. Like, that's great, but we'd like an RO system in there now. I mean, how do you say, nicely? I'm sorry, you've been drinking a lot of arsenic.
Yeah, that's why I got the twitches and stuff like that. Well, good stuff.
Those are things that protect the veteran. Just we were just going over, Chanel and I were just going over a loan that's in process. I think we just got to, we're looking for a clear to close on it, but it has to meet what's called the net tangible benefit. So one of the benefits of being a veteran and having a VA loan is if you buy into a market where interest rates are high. So let's say over the past couple of years, interest rates are anywhere between 6 and 7%, right? As the market starts to shift down, it's a very easy, streamlined process. Well, this is where the predatory lending had come out in the past, right? It used to be like, well, if you reduce the interest rate, then obviously you're doing something for the client and you're able to get the deal closed. Now that net tangible benefit requires at least a 0.5 point reduction in interest rate, and you have to recoup the cost within 36 months. When we were going through some of the numbers, we were off a little bit on that recoupment. And my loan officer got a little upset. And I'm like, bro, what are you upset about? Like, you are doing a disservice to the veteran. You're charging him more than what it takes in order to recoup that money in 36 months. Like, let's look at it the way you should look at it. Yeah, man, I totally forgot about that. But so I always tell everybody, because I would love to, at some point, like if you want to have the conversation, anybody wants to reach out to me, we can look at the trend of interest rates over the last year. And you can see these dips and valleys on almost a daily basis.
Yeah.
So wherever it fits for your budget, whatever you're looking for, whatever makes sense for you, you need to be positioned and ready. So in the podcast that we just launched today, we specifically talk about, hey, if you're over 6%, you need to be having a conversation with your mortgage professional.
Hold that thought. We're going to be there here in just a second. You're going to lead that off here. I want to transition real quick. I want to talk one story, and then we'll get into the shows here. Have you been following the government shutdown? And then before you answer that, let me say this, guys. It's great to be back behind the mic again this week. I'll be here again next week. But being unplugged, like I'm catching up on everything. This government shutdown is now 10 days, I believe.
11. I think it was last Monday. So yeah, I think we're 11.
Yeah, and we're it's going to extend into next week as they adjourned last night or yesterday without breaking the stalemate. And it's always back and forth. So like this one here, Dom, it came from CBS. Don't hold it against me. Democrats and Republicans remain locked in the stalemate over how to reopen the government, with the Senate rejecting motions to advance bills for the 7th time on Thursday. So it's like, and then you go through and it's a back and forth game. The Senate they'll leave town until Tuesday, meaning the government shutdown will not be resolved this week, which is a shame because look at all the government employees that are not getting paid.
Right.
I thought. And then Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said he remains confident in the Democrats' negotiating position and insisting on the extension of health care subsidiaries, telling Punchbowl News, every day gets better for us as the shutdown continues. That's what they quoted him as.
Yeah.
I take that as a kick in the crotch, but
yeah,
whatever. And then you turn around, then you got the House Speaker Mike Johnson took calls from C-SPAN asking questions, and they quoted him, "The Democrats are the ones that are preventing you from getting a check." It's back and forth. I'm at a point where I don't, and I've always said that, I don't care if you're left, you're right, you're green, you're blue, you're whatever. This is BS. Figure this stuff out and do your freaking jobs.
Right.
That's what you should be doing, because damn well these guys are getting paid.
Oh yeah.
There might be a government shutdown, but guess who's still
they're getting their checks.
And it's really starting to kind of piss me off. And then the White House, at the White House, President Trump said, quote, Democrats are using healthcare as
it's all weaponized.
Yeah, it's
It's all
Threat
weaponized.
programs. If you don't do this, then we're going to do that. And what about the people that it's yeah. Anyway, so the shutdown stuff, it's going on until it's not getting resolved.
No,
not today. And Monday's a holiday.
I think they're dug in, bro. I think they're really truly dug in because why not? Right? This is that if we give in now, what do we really have? I think that the Republican Party has the leverage that it was looking for. I think that the Democrat Party did not know what was coming. Like they probably thought, okay, this is our chance, and the Republican Party just sat quiet on it, and they're like, no, this is our chance. And now, whoever gives in is what's the ripple effect?
Yeah,
and I think that's where the fear really comes in. Is what's the ripple effect going to be if we give in on this?
It's going to be interesting.
I think both sides. I find I'm more conservative, but I'm still moderate, right? And I find that a lot of my friends are liberal moderates, and we can have normal conversations and talk through things, and they understand my point, and I understand their point. But what it comes down to is these extremes on the left and right.
It's at the end of the day. There's a guy that I mentioned. He's at the gym that I go to. Polar opposite on political side. I would consider, and I've said this before, I'm probably a more conservative base, but I'm more independent. I like to think for myself, right? It's and him and I got to chat, and we have some great conversations, and it's never a pissing match back and forth. It's always handshake and a hug, or as we're taking off or leaving, or just a high five or fist pump or whatever like that. He's like, hey man, I'll see you tomorrow. Great conversation today. And it's like, why? Yeah. Anyway, we need more of that. We need more people that can just mutually sit down and talk like adults.
One of my best friends, his name is Nick, and Nick Van Hefty. He's over in Arizona, and Nick is more of a liberal. And he was like, well, why did you vote for Trump? And I said, first and foremost, I live in a subdivision that was attacked by Chilean gangs, and houses were broken into and things were stolen. So I'm a big supporter of removing those individuals from our country. I support that. So when I see these ICE raids, I mean, I understand there's two sides to every story, and I understand like there's things that are going on that I'm unaware of. But I also have friends that are still in, and I see him doing border patrol stuff, and I see him doing, raids over in Chicago. I mean, my sister-in-law just moved to Chicago. She sees it firsthand. She's calling me and telling me about it, all worried. And I'm like, you got to stop worrying. You got to stop worrying. You got to start praying. And that's all you can do. But just when I had that conversation with Nick, and I specifically said what was bothering me and why I did it, he's like, wow. He's like, man, now I see why that actually affected you firsthand. And it was just such a great conversation. It was a huge catalyst for a lot of things that are going on in my life today, of just how I see things, how I converse with people, and some of the mantra that I get to hear from other walks of life, and am able to accept. I love it. It was that first step. It was that first eye-opening piece where, like, okay, this guy's not a complete idiot. He actually knows what he's talking about. I understand his concepts, and he felt the same way about me.
Yeah. Rich, what's up, brother? Good morning to you. Appreciate you jumping on. All right. We got some important dates coming up. PodFest 2026. It's the world's largest podcasting event. Did you know that? Well, you do now.
I didn't know.
January 15th through the 18th in Orlando, Florida. Yours truly will be on the main stage this year with our friend Shay Sparks. If you're interested in going, if you're a podcaster, this is the largest podcasting event in the world. You need to be at it. Podfestexpo.com. You can check that out. Also, add this to your calendar. Military Creator Con, April of 2026, April 16th through the 18th. The website is live now. In fact, as I just hit the button by mistake, because that's me trying to multitask and failing.
Is that one in Dallas?
Yes, this is the one in Dallas. We're going to post it right.
What an awesome couple they are. What another awesome power couple they are.
Oh, yeah. God. I mean, James Moore. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very similar dynamic.
Shout out to VP and Mara. Appreciate you guys. All right, we're going to dive into some shows. Hey, let me do a quick reminder, guys. We are looking for hero stories. If you have somebody in your neighborhood or you know somebody that you would consider a community hero that's done something positive in the community, we want to hear about it. Let's highlight them. You email us at media@heroesmediagrp.com. Let's start with the shows. We're running short on time, so we're going to go through these shows, and we're going to start it off with our man Dominic right now with Faith Valor Growth. He mentioned earlier that they just had a new episode drop this morning. Dom, what did you guys talk about this week?
So it was a solo podcast focused mainly on when it makes sense for you to refinance, where the market's at, the state of it, some of the things that we covered today. Most of those are call to action. So there were 3 things that I really wanted to focus on. One of the things is we've got an opportunity over in Jacksonville where there are a bunch of displaced veterans. We're looking for a veteran who would be interested in purchasing a multifamily home as a primary residence, going and starting the trend with Faith Valor Growth so we can reach out to the veterans, bring these veterans that are displaced in. There is a monetary gain to it. There's the ability to create wealth through it. So there is that piece of it. Does it make sense to refinance today? Getting that loan in process. And this is where we start talking about the trend of rates over the last year, where you can see ups and downs in the market to where they change on a daily, weekly basis. And it can take a good day or two to get your loan into process, and you can miss those dips in the market. So if you have that conversation of does it make sense, you take the application, you get it in process, you float the lock. And as soon as the market moves into where it's favorable for you or it makes sense for you, then you can lock and take advantage of it. Now, once you do that, you can do it every 212 days. I don't recommend doing it that often, but if the market starts to shift, let's say it goes to you're at a 7% rate, you're able to get down to 6 in 212 days, rates are down at 5%. Well, then you're going to want to take advantage of it too. Right. Look to where you can place the money in order for it to fit your financial needs. Sometimes people skip 2 payments. That cash flow is crucial to them. Sometimes they get their escrow refund back, or actually they always get their escrow refund back. So whatever's in that current escrow account is then handed back to you. Unless you're 100% disabled and you're exempt from paying property taxes, which I'm still fighting on that. I did get my rating.
Not in every state though.
That's not in every state, correct? That's not in every state. Yep, there are some states that only give you a portion. Michigan's one that will give you 100%. California, Texas, those all give you 100%.
Yeah, I was surprised Wisconsin because it's my home state, as you know, and like you had to like the things up there in Wisconsin was like you had to get out of the military after living there for like 5 years, and you had to get out of the military up there or retire from up there or something like that. So make sure you check out what state, whatever state you're in. If you're a veteran, check out what state you're in and
give us a call. That's something that Chanel and I are going to dig into. We're going to find those things out. That's part of the Faith Valor Growth ecosystem. Making sure that we always say the first thing that we do is we find out where you're standing from a disability standpoint, right? Because if you file your disability claim before you take your application, it's always retroactive, right? So you would get that VA feedback, right? It's a substantial amount of money, right? You look at 2.5% roughly on a $500,000 loan. I said I was good at math, so $12,500, right? That money comes back to you at that point after your disability is approved, and I think everybody pretty much gets. I mean, nothing rings like freedom in your ears like tinnitus. Everybody's got it.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
All right, Faith Valor Growth. Check it out, guys. Again, you can check out all the shows at heroesmediagroup.com. Dom, I appreciate you being here. We're going to go through these shows real quick. Absolutely, brother. Stay with me if you'd like. So we got a new show on HMG. We've got some new shows coming up too. We're actually in the process of onboarding new shows, 13 and 14 for this year. We've had 12 new shows join the HMG family this year alone, soon to be 14. So we're excited about that, and it's because of you guys out there. You tune in, you watch, you support the shows, and we love you guys for it. Thank you. So this new show, one of the newer shows that we have on the network, let's talk all things VA with with Coach Marcia. Too many veterans feel forgotten, right? Absolutely. I've felt that way. Dom, I'm sure you felt that way. Or they question if they count because their discharge status, length of service, or unfinished training. This is the very first episode of Let's Talk All Things VA. Coach Marcia redefines what it means to be a veteran and introduces the mission and vision of her business, You Are Still a Veteran. She explains how federal law defines veteran. I don't know why I keep doing that. And why stigma keeps so many silent, and why your service, whether you're 11 years or 11 weeks, why it still matters. Great episode. And there's a lot of eye-opening things. I think there's a lot of people out there just like, I'm not a veteran. I only was in for 3 years and I did X, Y, and Z, so I don't count, whether I was guard or reserve or whatever. I don't get. I'm telling you, listen to this. Let's talk all things VA with Coach Marcia. She's amazing. Check it out. New show, HMG. Next up, we got the Double S podcast. It's pre-recorded this week. They did their 2025 Field Ops season wrap-up episode this week with Mr. Gene Campbell, who hosted the HMG Weekly Wrap Up last week because I was grocery shopping. Next up, She Birthed the Vibe, another new show here on HMG, mother-daughter show. I absolutely, these two are a riot. They're doing a live show tonight. So they didn't do a recorded show this week. They're doing a live show tonight, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And you can see it right here. It'll be on HMG. It'll be on She Birthed the Vibe and on all of the social platforms. So make sure you check that out. Next up, I think you know this guy, J-Mac. J-Mac coming back in full force. I'm so proud of this guy. Air Force, this week, talked to Air Force veteran Patrick Fitzhugh sits down. They share the story of survival, trauma, redemption that every veteran and first responder needs to hear. From growing up in West Phoenix to facing brutal realities of SEER training, Patrick opens up about battling alcohol trauma and a few other struggles, and he talks about all that, talks about faith, family, resilience, and how he found a way not to just survive, but how to thrive through it all. Great episode, J-Mac podcast. Check that out.
He's one of my favorites. He's second season, episode 1 for me.
Yeah,
I had him on. What a great dynamic he brings to every conversation. Yeah. He's amazing.
He's such a good dude. I met him a couple of years ago when I was down in Phoenix, and was on his show. And we did. That's when he was over at the dispensary, and just a like down to earth, man. Good people.
Easy to talk to. Just really open. Can get you to open up.
The sandbox. Shout out to what he's doing with the sandbox. Yeah. Figure that out. Go follow J-Mac on Instagram. He's on Instagram a lot. And
Instagram and TikTok. I think we always forget. He's a big TikTok guy. I think we got some good connection between me and him on TikTok.
Yeah. Next up, we got the Vet SOS podcast. They do 4 episodes each week. They got their military transition show. They got veteran entrepreneurial spotlight. They have the Scoop, and there's 3 this week. I'm sorry, there's 3 this week. Great episodes. Vet SOS podcast. 3 incredible conversations dropped across the network, each shining the light on leadership, resilience, purpose, and the veteran community. Check them out. I love this. Is a newer show. They've only been around on HMG for about 2 months, but they've been around in the veteran community for a while. I absolutely love what this podcast is doing, because they got several shows each week, and they're great. Next up, you're gonna love this one, the Disgruntled PM.
My boy, we just launched one last 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, right.
Trevor.
Our board.
He's still disgruntled.
Yeah, right.
He's still disgruntled.
Trevor interviews. I'm gonna murder this. Brian Grennan, a retired brigadier general, diverse background in law enforcement and military service. They discuss differences between the National Guard and active duty, the skills that translate between law enforcement and military. This was a really cool episode. You want to talk about another podcaster that's just kind of up and coming. when he first started, well, not this, not that. Now all of a sudden he's just taking the reins and running with it. I love this show.
What he's done in like 5 months, I think it'll take me like 3 years to
mind.
He is just a machine.
Yeah, mind blowing.
Mm-hmm.
Another show, The Strategic Veteran with Adam Peters. Another great chat. Talked to him last night for a little bit. What happens when the science of like psychology and it collides with future of AI and timeless wisdom of healing? So Dr. Patel is a physician, psychiatrist, wellness entrepreneur, and the CEO of My Peak. He's also the leader of an AI healthcare solutions through Sully AI and the author of Trauma Transformed. This one blew my mind, especially with AI in the healthcare field, because I've talked with my wife a little bit about it. Obviously, she's in healthcare. This conversation, we explore the full arc healing from childhood adversity and PTSD to plant-based medicines to building systems that empower both patients and doctors. This is another really cool episode. It's called The Strategic Veteran. David Gordon, how the hell are you? Good morning to you, brother. I owe you an email. I have not forgot about you. I've been busy. That's not an excuse. I appreciate you. Thank you for jumping on this morning. I got apologize. David, I've known David for years. We served together, and David is one of those like solid roughneck cowboys. Like he's the guy when you get into a fight, like you want him.
Yeah.
You better hope he's on your side. He'll mess
Where's he at in Texas?
No, he's in Arizona.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, he's north of. Yeah, he's up in Arizona. Yeah, he's good
nice.
Dude. Patriots Inside the Wire is next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights from 4 to 6. Tracy, Gold Star Mother, does a great job with the show. She's got a lot of great guests doing a lot of stuff with the music industry. With it started off focusing just on veterans, but it's expanded so much more than that. Patriots Inside the Wire, 3 nights a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, live. Check them out. Next up, we got the Arms Room show every Monday at 2 p.m. Mountain. I say Arizona time because let's be honest, Arizona never changes their clocks. So if I say Mountain time, it could be this, could be that. Just whatever time Arizona's on at that time, and I missed not changing my clocks. Every Monday, 2 p.m., new one comes out. This week, they're reviewing several OIS incidents through the eyes of an armed citizen. Pay attention to this one, folks. Pay attention to this one. It's called The Arms Room. Next up, we got Misfit Nation podcast. This week, Rich, I know Rich was on here a little bit earlier, but I'm talking today. We're going to talk about the Tuesday crew with Stephen and Jack. They sit down with retired U.S. Army Green Beret Sergeant Major Mark Bilas, with service from Central and South America to Afghanistan and Iraq. He shares his military experience, leadership lessons, and post-service missions supporting struggling veterans through Valor Clinic Foundation. You got to go check that out. Pretty cool organization, what they're doing over there. Misfit Nation, they run a couple of episodes each week. So check them out. Again, you can check out all the shows, heroesmediagroup.com. Next up, we got the People's Patriot Project. Yeah, I'm putting this up there, Dave. Wife just rolling her eyes. Oh, I love it. I love it. People's Patriot Project every Sunday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is like a round table type show. Mark and Andrea have done a fantastic job. And let me just say this real quick. Shout out to Andrea. It was her birthday yesterday. I usually don't do that, but I'm going to do Andrea. I've known these guys for over a decade. So shout out Andrea. I hope you had a good birthday. Mark Peterson and Andrea, they have done a fantastic job. People's Patriot Project. This week, they bring together 2 incredible guests, retired Colonel Wayne Quist and Dr. Steve Lansing, authors and lifelong advocates for veterans and mental health. Colonel Quest takes us back to World War II, sharing his personal experiences with trauma and the cultural expectation. You would talk about a different time. That generation I love hearing stories from that. I miss my one of my mentors. He joined the Army Air Corps in 1945 and served 30 years, retired as a 2-star general in the Air Force. That man had some stories, and that's the type of generation that was just like, yeah, need to hear more of those stories. That's this week, or that was this past week on the People's Patriot Project. Again, every Sunday night they do live, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So you guys can check that out. Oh, that's right. I did an episode this week. The Decision Hour is up next. This week, Stand Your Ground. This story that I did this week is actually coming out of Yuma, Arizona. Navigating self-defense and legal challenges. I sit down with a gentleman by the name of Barry Todd. He's an Army veteran. He's a financial advisor and the author of Stand Your Ground, One Man's Self-Defense Nightmare. In fact, he was kind enough to send me a book. That's what it looks like. Barry's got a crazy story. I remember this story hitting the news in Arizona when this happened. He basically, it was a personal experience that changed his life forever. He was him and his wife were coming out of a restaurant, was attacked, pulled a gun, defended himself, and then went through this entire long process. It wasn't, he was accused of, manslaughter was what he was being accused of. It all got worked out. I'm not going to get into many of the details, but it's like one of those stories where you're just like, there's no freaking way that happened. And
that's on your show this
yeah,
week?
that's this week, the Decision Hour. Yep. So check that out. Barry Todd, good episode. Next up, out the other side of the firewall. This week they discussed the labor cybersecurity news, including the implications of the government shutdown on cybersecurity operations, emerging threats like comet jacking, and China's severe penalties for cyber criminals. It is I'm not gonna say scary, but
I was going to say scary. It sounds scary. It's real.
You definitely want to pay attention. If you're not into like the cyber stuff, I would get educated on it a little bit because we're in that world right now. David Willis, what's up, brother? How are you? I appreciate you jumping on. Homefront Sit Rep podcast right there, host Mr. David Willis. What do we got next? Last one for this week. Rise Up, Voices from the Front Line. This week she's talking leadership as a responsibility, not a position. That one caught my eye. Leadership today is not casual. It is not a title or a stage or a social media badge. It is a weight. This is the first episode that she's doing of this series of trauma-informed leadership series. She shares what the reality means to pick up the bloody microphone and to speak when it costs you something, to stand when others sit, and to understand that leadership isn't about privilege, it's about responsibility. Yeah. Krista does a fantastic job. It's a great episode. Check it out. It's called Rise Up, Voices from the Front Line. It's one of our first responder shows. Let me give shout outs real quick, Dom. From the farm, AJ Richards. Miss you, brother. Hope you're doing well. My tax fella, my boy Anthony over there. Listen, tax season's right around the corner. Best money I spend all year, because I'm not a numbers guy. I go and I go to mytaxfella.com. They do the taxes for the businesses. Go check it out. Forget Genetics, veteran-owned company, great organization. Jim Neary's Live Bait and Tackle. Thank you guys for supporting the group. Fin Tactical, they're in charge and responsible for the HMG website. Thank you guys. Freedom People, another great group over there. And then, of course, last but not least, our sister company, HMG Beverage, and our coffee. And we got coffee back in. I haven't been posting about it, but if you guys want some coffee, hit me up. Let me know. That's it. I'm out of time, guys. I'm over time.
Yeah.
But Dom, I appreciate you jumping on, man. Thank you for everything that you do. You're doing a fantastic job. I'm proud of you.
Sir.
Those of you that jumped on, thank you. I thought we were going, I've had some internet connections here, problems lately. So David, Gordon, appreciate you, brother, for always making me laugh. Rich, David, Willis, appreciate you guys. Dom, hey, Dom, parting words before we shut her down.
Parting words.
Yeah.
Wow, you just put me on the spot here, huh?
Yeah.
Well, so you want me to like sell myself, or you want me to just say parting words, or
hey, this is not that kind of show.
I'm so confused.
Well, we went through the entire hour being good, and then you throw that out there. You know what? Here's the thing, folks.
I'm a Marine. Come on.
This is flat. Here's the parting words. Dom, I appreciate you jumping on, folks.
Thank you.
Don't get the 45-degree syndrome, right? Get outside. It's fall time. If you're pumpkin spice, I don't hold that against you. I'm not, but whatever. Get outside. I got to do some grocery shopping this weekend. So I'm going to be out in the woods. I'm unplugging. I'm taking my own advice that I give you guys. Unplug for a little while.
Me too. I'm unplugged too.
I love it. I love it. Till next week. God bless you. God bless America. I appreciate you guys being here. We'll see you next week. Take care.